An update coming from New York City, state, and federal officials on the investigation into this attack, this horrific attack, terror attack that played out in Lower Manhattan yesterday. A very important timeline update, more updates about what they know about the attacker, and also being very clear that they are in the infancy of this investigation. We're going to piece through all of this for you right now, but right now, first, I want to get over to CNN crime and justice reporter Shimon Prokupecz. Shimon, you've got some new information coming into you.
Yeah, that's right, Kate. And we heard the Deputy Commissioner John Miller talk about contacts and how perhaps the suspect was known in some way to the FBI, to law enforcement. And I just sort of wanted to give people kind of a good idea of what that's based on. And it's based on information that the FBI has. They went through information overnight that the Joint Terrorism Task Force with the NYPD and FBI went through, and they found that he was associated with someone who they had been investigating, someone who was on their radar. It's not clear to us if any measures were taken because of that previously, if any measures.
And Peter King of New York, of course, he's a member of the House Homeland Security Committee. Congressman, thank you so much for sticking around. I know you were listening into that important update along with us from New York officials. We've learned quite a bit that this man followed almost exactly to a T the structure and the guidance that ISIS has laid out online in order to carry this out. But one question remains is when was he radicalized? That is something that officials today were not getting into, except New York's Governor Andrew Cuomo says he was radicalized here. What are you hearing?
Again, there's nothing definite on that. I heard the same thing that John Miller mentioned, and also which your correspondent just said, is that he appears to have had some contact with one or more people who had been under FBI suspicion, or at least FBI surveillance. And again, we'll have to go all the way back to 2010 when he came here, and also go back before that to see if there's any record on him, in Uzbekistan being involved in any type of radical activity at all. But again, I think it's too early to say. This is, my experience with these investigations, this can go on for days, weeks, and months, because they're going to go through all his social media, all his phone records, anyone he's been in contact with, any dealings he's had, any posts he's put on social media. And again, each of those people that he had any contact with who were previously under FBI surveillance or suspicion. Also, we'd have to find out whether or not the FBI actually had opened an investigation on those people. Did they close it out? Why did they close it out? All of these things. Again, it's so early in the process, but they will track every possible lead down.
Well, and one of the keys that is great is relative, of course, early on in this process, is they have him. They have the suspect, which is rare here. He's alive in hospital here in New York, and they are interviewing him and will be obviously continuing that. I do want to ask you, though, because it's come up when you say it's so early on in this investigation, as everyone agrees it is. We have been, though, hearing from the president in the aftermath of it. The president reacting, the president calling the attacker depraved and sick, but also then going and saying that he wants to put in place more extreme vetting in the aftermath. Do you know what extreme vetting looks like?
No, but I agree with the president to this extent. I do believe if a person is coming, and I have no idea if it would impact it on this case, but if a person is coming from a country which has a strong terrorist presence, there should be more intense vetting and investigation than there would be from someone who is not coming from a country similar to that. Now, Uzbekistan does have a large terrorist presence. I believe they've sent 800 people from Uzbekistan have gone to Syria to fight alongside ISIS. So again, in those cases, yes, there should be more vetting. So how you define it would just be more than what you do in the ordinary case.
Asked about his tweets and comments this morning, Andrew Cuomo said the president's tweets were not helpful, they were not factual, and they tended to point fingers. Do you agree?
If the president is talking about the lottery visas, my experience with them in New York is they have worked. Again, to me, the question would be the same. If a person